Hello friends, this video on Ray Optics Part 39 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till Part 38 before going ahead with Part 39. We will now study about dispersion by a prism. What is dispersion? It is nothing but splitting of white light into its constituent colors, right? It is a very common phenomenon which is observed that when a ray of white light is passed through a prism, it gets split into all its 7 constituents. Now, the pattern of colors which is obtained is known as the spectrum. So, in this figure, you can see that this is the white light beam which is incident on the prism, and this is the spectrum which is obtained as the output. So, now let us look at what causes dispersion by a prism. Why do prisms disperse light? Earlier, when the phenomenon of dispersion was not properly explained and known, people thought that maybe it is a magical phenomenon which takes place because of which the light gets split into so many different colors. Only later, when Newton performed this experiment where he took 2 prisms and arranged them in this pattern. The first prism was located in such a way that when the white beam entered, it splitted the white beam into its constituent colors, and those constituent colors, when allowed to enter to the second prism, it was found that again white beam of light was obtained. So this experiment proved that it is a property of the prism, or it is because of the prism that the white light is getting split into its constituent 7 colors. So then it was experimentally proved that it was not a magical phenomenon, but it was due to the property of the prism that the white light is getting dispersed, or the white light is getting split into its constituent colors. Now, what is causing this dispersion? Dispersion is taking place because white light consists of so many different colors, and each of these colors has a different wavelength. Now, because of this different wavelength, each of this color gets deviated by different angles of deviation. And as a result, they all get deviated by different angles. Therefore, when we see that each of them get deviated differently. So, let us look at it in this form. There was a Cauchy's formula which told that the refractive index of the material of the prism varies with wavelength. And how does it vary with wavelength? He told that mu is equal to A plus B by lambda square, where A and B are Cauchy's constants. So A and B were constants. So therefore, from here we can say that mu varies inversely with lambda. Now, when we talk about white light, it consists of these 7 colors: violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Right? Now, out of this, violet is the color which has the minimum wavelength, and red is the one which has the maximum wavelength. Now, we have told that refractive index varies inversely with wavelength. So, since wavelength is minimum for violet, therefore, the refractive index would be maximum for violet. In this case, the refractive index would be minimum for red. We also know from our previous slides that the angle of minimum deviation, or the minimum angle of deviation, varies directly with refractive index. So, if the refractive index is maximum for violet, that means the angle of minimum deviation will also be maximum for violet. Therefore, violet will deviate the most, whereas for red, since the refractive index is the least, therefore the angle of minimum deviation will also be the least. Since the angle of minimum deviation is least, as a result of this, violet deviate the most, whereas red deviate the least. So as a result, what happens when this white light enters the prism? Red deviates the least, whereas violet deviates the most. So as a result, each of these colors get deviated by different angles, and That is why we are able to see the different colors which are present inside the white light, right? Okay. So now that we have studied about the refraction of light by prism, it is a good time that we can talk about a very interesting example, which is an example of refraction of light as well as total internal reflection as well as dispersion of light. That is rainbow. So what is a rainbow? When do you see a rainbow? Is it that you can see rainbow any time of the day and on any part of the sky you want? It is not like that. Mostly we see a rainbow on a rainy day, when generally just after the rain is over, when one part of the sky is still cloudy, whereas the other part of the sky is little shining. That means the sun is shining on one part of the sky, whereas there are a little bit of rains or cloud on the other part of the sky. And this scenario comes generally just after a rain, and that is when we see a rainbow. But why and how is a rainbow formed? That is the question. So this rainbow is an interesting example of dispersion, refraction and reflection of sunlight by spherical rainwater droplets. So this spherical rainwater droplets play a very important role in the formation of rainbow, and these water droplets will be present in the sky only after a rain, right? So without these droplets you will never see a rainbow, because all these phenomena, dispersion, refraction and reflection, happens within these spherical rainwater droplets. So when do you see a rainbow? We just now mentioned about that, right? So if one part of this of the sky has a shining sun, whereas the other part has rains, and when you stand with your back facing towards the sun, you see a rainbow, right? So I mean, everybody knows that, right? So for rainbow we have two categories of rainbow, or you can say we have two types of rainbow. One is a primary rainbow and the other one is a secondary rainbow. I don't think many of you have heard about this primary and secondary rainbow. Maybe all of you have seen this rainbow, but maybe you don't know what is a primary rainbow and what's a secondary rainbow. So you'll get to know about this now. So now let us try to understand how is this rainbow formed and what is the difference between a primary rainbow and a secondary rainbow, and what are they? So now let us look at the formation of a rainbow. So here we will talk about a primary rainbow formation. How is a primary rainbow formed? So now you will also come to know what is a primary rainbow and what is a secondary rainbow. Now when we talk about a primary rainbow, it is formed in 3 steps. In the first step, what happens? The sunlight comes from the sun rays coming from the sun, they enter the raindrop, the spherical raindrop which are present in the atmosphere after the rain. The sunlight enters these raindrops. Now as soon as the sunlight enters this drop, it is entering from a rarer medium to a denser medium, because of which refraction takes place, that is bending of light takes place, right? Now after these lights have entered inside the drop, it strikes this surface where it is trying to move from a denser to a rarer medium, such that it undergoes total internal reflection, because the angle of incidence is such that it is greater than the critical angle for water, right? So total internal reflection takes place, and as a result it again reaches this point where again it is moving from a denser medium to a rarer medium, and refraction takes place. So refraction takes place, therefore the light again bends. So here you can see that when the sunlight enters, the deviation, the angle of deviation for red and violet lights are different. Red deviates less and violet deviates more. So as a result, what is happening? Because of this phenomenon, the light which is entering is the sunlight, and the light which is coming out are the different colors of light. That means the light which is coming out is nothing but the constituents of the white light. So that means in this case, the spherical raindrop is acting as a prism, where the input is the white light or the sunlight, and the output is the different colors constituting the sunlight. Right? So this is known as a primary rainbow. So primary rainbow is the one which is formed due to refraction of sunlight, followed by an internal reflection, which again is followed by refraction of the reflected light. So now, when these phenomenon occurs on different rain droplets, what happens? Like this, as you see here, from the first droplet, this is the beam of light. From the second droplet, these are the beam of light. So if the observer is standing here such that his back is towards the sun, so the sun is somewhere here, right? So the sun rays are coming from here, and the observer is standing here. So his back is facing towards the sun. So then he will be able to see this light, because if the observer is facing the sun, that means the formation of the rainbow takes place at his back. So he will not be able to see. Therefore, a rainbow is seen only when half part of the sky has a sun shining, because if the sun is not shining, there will be no sunlight, right? And also it wants that the other half of the sky has some rain, so that raindrops are there, because we need both sunlight as well as raindrops for the formation of a rainbow. Now we will look at the secondary rainbow formation. However, there is no difference between a primary rainbow and the secondary rainbow in their appearance. Both look the same. But when I talk about a secondary rainbow, what happens is the sunlight enters the spherical drop in this form. As soon as it enters, the refraction of sunlight takes place as it enters the raindrop. Then internal reflection of light takes place in this form. And then again an internal reflection of light takes place. So that means two total internal reflection takes place. So the internal reflection inside the drop takes place for 2 times, which is then again followed by refraction of the light as it comes out of the drop. So the concept remains the same, just that in case of a secondary rainbow, the inside the raindrop, the total internal reflection takes place for 2 times, right? However, in this case also the observer observes the same thing. So here also, if you see, on one part of the sky you should have the sun, whereas on the other part of the sky you should have the raindrops, and you should stand in such a way that your back should face towards the sun. So I hope I could explain you that how rainbow formation takes place, right? So now that we have, thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.